Hi everyone. Today I'm going to teach you the 5 most important things you need to know if you owe a tax debt but can't pay. Either you don't have the funds or for whatever reason you can't pay your tax debt. I'm going to teach you the 5 most important things you need to know. My name is Andrew Gordon. I'm an attorney. I'm also a CPA at the Gordon Law Group. And this video is for informational purposes. You should always consult an attorney or a CPA to discuss your specific situation. Now, with the disclaimer out of the way, here are the 5 things you need to know. First, even if you owe a tax debt, you should still file your tax returns. Filing your tax returns is a separate obligation from the obligation to pay. And by not filing, you can accrue additional penalties and even potentially criminal penalties for not filing. So it's very important to file. Not filing, you'll start to have a penalty called a failure to file penalty. And so one way to minimize that is to simply file. So even if you can't pay, file your tax return. Second, one option that you have is to file an extension. Before the tax deadline, you can request a 6-month extension from the IRS in order to file your tax return by October 15th. It's important to know that the extension is an extension to file, not an extension to pay, meaning that after the tax deadline, generally April 15th, you will start to accrue penalties and interest on any tax debt that would be owed on April 15th. But filing an extension gets you 6 months to file the tax return, which for some people is enough time to then sell their crypto or earn income sufficient to then pay the tax debt. So an option is file an extension, which will keep you off the IRS's radar at least during the extension period, and collections won't start until you file your tax return. Third, ask for a collections hold. Once you file your tax return, either yourself or through a power of attorney, such as a CPA or an attorney, can contact the IRS and ask for a collections hold. Now, if you believe that you can pay off that tax debt in simply a matter of months, it may be best to simply request from the IRS time to full pay. And believe it or not, the IRS in many situations will grant you time, generally in the order of months, in order to full pay. So ask for a collections hold from the IRS if you need it. If you don't ask for a collections hold, once you file your tax return and it's processed by the IRS, they will start their collections process, which means first they'll send notices, but eventually take other efforts such as filing liens and the unfortunate thing that everyone wants to avoid, levies as well. The IRS will eventually levy or take money from your bank accounts if you don't work out some sort of arrangement or ask for a collections hold. So number 3, ask for a collections hold. Now, if that's not enough time, say a matter of months will not give you enough time to full pay your liability, your 4th tip or piece of advice is to get into an installment agreement. Believe it or not, the IRS is very willing to enter into arrangements with taxpayers to pay their debt over time. And in practice, in my law firm, we're often able to get 6 years, 72 months, in order for our clients to pay their tax liabilities. Now, during this time, interest will continue to accrue. And right now, the IRS's interest rate is 5%, and penalties will also accrue on your failure to pay. But the IRS will not be actively taking collection steps if you're in an installment agreement. And so for some people, it's an analysis of whether or not it makes sense to exit certain crypto positions or to enter into an installment agreement, pay the interest and penalties. So an installment agreement is also an option. Finally, number 5 is what's referred to as an offer in compromise. An offer in compromise is a settlement with the IRS for less than the amount owed. And these are the things you see on TV, settlements for pennies on the dollar. The reality is it's very difficult to get an offer in compromise, and it's all based or substantially based on your finances. So if you have substantial income, you have assets such as crypto, it's difficult to get a very favorable offer in compromise, but it is possible. Say in 2017, you traded all the way through the peak of crypto, and so you've accrued millions of dollars of taxable income as a result of those trades. Yet today, the crypto values are at a third of what it was. And so your tax debt may be more than even the crypto is worth. So an offer in compromise may make sense to explore because you may be able to settle that debt for much less than you actually owe, based on what assets and what income you have today. So those are 5 tips that I have. If you can't pay your taxes, you do have options. Don't simply ignore it. First, file your taxes. Second, there is the potential to file an extension before the due date. Third, you can ask for a collections hold by the IRS, and they will grant you typically a few months if you're able to pay in a few months. Fourth, it's possible to get an installment agreement, and attorneys at my firm very typically get 72-month, 6-year installments for our client. And number 5, an offer in compromise. It's possible to have a settlement for less than you actually owe with the IRS. My name is Andrew Gordon. I'm an attorney at the Gordon Law Group. Feel free to contact me, GordonLawLtd.com, GordonLawLtd.com. Thanks.